Good morning. Welcome back to day 2 of the Antique Engine and Tractor Association 64th Annual Working Farm Show down here in Geneseo, Illinois. And again, we're featuring the lesser knowns, the orphan tractors, the tractors that maybe didn't make it off. They made it off the cutting room floor, but they sure didn't make it far past that. One of the reasons why they have so many tractors like that is because you had, this is something that you can debate down in the old comment section. But what I believe a lot of it had to do with, there were so many manufacturers of tractors, is because the distribution wasn't the same as they had now. Back in the day, you couldn't have a tractor that was made like in, let's say, Moline, Illinois. We all kind of know what brand I'm talking about. And then shipped all over the world because of doing rails, roads, and all of that. You had these smaller manufacturers because it was easy to ship the small parts to manufacturers, and then they would create stuff. So you have different designs. And this is what a lot of like those Rock Islands we looked at yesterday, a lot of them, they were some of those parts were what we call like a catalog tractor, where you'd be like, all right, there's our engine manufacturer, that's what we're going to run for that. Some of it was still being in-house. One of the other things we're celebrating this year down here, and a lot of shows have been celebrating this year, is 100 years of Caterpillar. So we have a little D4 here. Actually, yesterday's video, you would have seen this out working on the sawmill. We had it running that. I guess it was barking it pretty well. But we got a bunch more fun stuff to see today. We got more field work. They're going to be out in the field plowing. We're going to look at that. We're going to get a little bit probably into the blacksmith shop. We didn't check that out yesterday, as well as a few other things. So stay tuned. Grab your coffee. Grab your whatever snacks you like, and stay tuned. We're going to have a fun day. Now, obviously, our theme this year is oddballs and orphids. And, you know, you can't get... We do have our regular tractors on display. Obviously, a row of... the correct color green there. But let's take a closer look at a couple of these cool creations. Jim's Farm Repair out of Tampa. He's always had some of these V8 swap tractors. He's had this one for a while. This one is an M that he took. If you look, for those that know, this is like an F20 rear end, or an F30 rear end, excuse me, because it's got the portal axles. Flip them upside down, so that way it can run low to the ground, and then you power it by your all-American small block Chevy. You can see we got power steering on it. And then with a modified flipped over tractor front end. Well, that wasn't enough. He's like, I got to get another one. So this one he calls the Super A. Same concept, but just on a smaller platform in the sense of what he's done. Same deal. I mean, that's an A transmission back there for those that know. And small block Chevy as well on this one. Same concept. You take your axles. They used to make it high in the air. You flip them around. And he does a lot of tractor drives with this thing. It's a pretty cool setup. Let's get you back and check out what he actually is looking at here. He drove this one on the parade. If you check out the live stream from the video yesterday, you'll see one of these riding around. They got mufflers on them. They're not radically loud. They're nice and quiet. Obviously, you know, when you are feeding a V8 doing tractor drives, that's going to be important. But he utilizes the factory would have been the light switch on these things, but it's got a couple more switches on it now. And a tack that goes a little higher than anything else would have had. Even got the turn signal up there. That's a pretty cool setup. We'll check out his setup over here. Pretty similar. Yeah, really cool little, like I said, does a lot of tractor drives with this. It's got the buddy seat on it. So he can kind of have a little bit of fun there. We'll check out some more of these in our quote-unquote regular tractor section here. Another cool tractor here. We got a pair of them. These gold demonstrator model. This one's a 1456, and there's an 826 over there. So as International's way for advertising, set them off a little bit. Different offset color change, again, something that in the day was probably designed to be painted this way and then go back to the factory and then obviously get back to all red. Well, collectors being what they are, they found out what are the true demonstrators. I don't know if these serial numbers line up with that or if they're just painted gold. It's like I said, it's always a cool look to see. Very popular modification, you'll say, guys do to make them look a little special. Same way as you'll see about 3 million of the 10 million 1066 in the Poland world. We actually saw quite a few of those. Got a small John Deere here, 520, next to the 620. Again, all the tractors. We put all of our feature tractors over in one area, and then all the other tractors kind of all hang out together. So you got your John Deere's on one side, a little 40. This is back when we talked about this before. John Deere was starting to figure out that putting your motor horizontally laying down the front, there was better ways to do it, like literally everybody else was at this point. And so a little too slow. This came off the M line, would have been the John Deere M, which was small, versus the Farmall M, which was big. It doesn't make any sense, folks. It's all confusing. We got a 1206 down there. Little W4 standard. This would have been the standard version of an H. Got a little Fergie here. And then next to a face only a mother could love, a Minneapolis Moline UB. Remember, folks, why they call those the UB versus the U? Because on the UB, you be seeing things because you're actually sitting up, not sitting. If this was a U, well, we'll find a U, but if this was a U, approximately your seat's like right here. You're pretty much sitting on the drawbar. So at least here you might be able to see what's in front of you. Another cool little collection. We have Massey Ferguson. Massey Harris, I believe Massey Ferguson will be involved in that, will be our feature next year, actually. So make sure to check that out. We got the, I always call this display the three little bears. We got Baby Bear, Mama Bear, and the big bear over there, the 1105. But a very nice collection of these Massey Fergusons, all from the same era. We're going to keep checking things out. We got field demonstrations started pretty soon, and we'll be out there.
one side or the other. I do both from time to time. This will curl around and then this will set right up.
Okay.
And those will bend over and then wrap around and grab a hold of the jar. So let's taper these out and put a little curlicue on them and shape them around the horn, and so that they fit this diameter of the jar.
Oh, cool.
Hammer control. One thing about blacksmithing is the ability to control your hammer. Now we got Rick Strahan from the John Deere homestead. He had somebody taking a picture of him while he was striking, and I made a ghost image of a hammer coming down as it struck and coming back up. Yeah, the guy made a framed a copy of it for him. So that's how he changed his name of his own personal shop to Ghost Hammer Forge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. Raise it up slightly so that it creates a taper on the tip. On the tips. This is that. I think that might be okay. Once I get these wrapped around there, then I'll have one. Point on it. And then taper. Generally, this might be a little wide here, but that one has some nice width to it, so that if I make that length from here to here,
Mm-hmm.
it'll wrap around in the jar just right.
Okay.
Now, a beginning smith will try to push the metal away from them, thinking that it'll be more efficient that way. But when you strike this, it hits square and spreads out in both directions. So if you try to push it this way, you're just wasting your time. Don't ask me how I know that. And then there's two valves to the upper chamber. So once you fill the upper chamber, then it's just a matter of short strokes to keep the upper chamber full of air, which keeps it flowing into the fire. You gotta be careful, because I talk too much. It'll burn up. Stretch this out and then put a little curl on the very end of it. striking hard and even, it moves it. Okay, now we go over here. Just about right on that one. So, worked on yet?
I'm gonna try this angle.
These are not usually equal on both sides. You say this is a little longer here. It's not as round. That one's a little rounder horn on the side. And I can correct that. Now, coming. Good grip. So this one, draw those in, and you'll grab it. Okay, good. Now for the other one. Come on. Good. 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 Now. Yeah, that's good. Curl that around. Yeah, I need to tighten that up a little bit. It's too far out. Yeah, that's close. That's close. Let's tighten this a little bit. A little too much. Still not right. Tighten it. Still needs a little tweaking here. This has got to be snug right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just pull that in a little bit, and that'll bring this uppers in line. So, yeah. So, okay, that's good for today.
Well, thanks for showing me that.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pretty hot one today, and that's going to wrap things up for the 64th annual Antique Engine and Tractor Association's Working Farm Show. But we're going to check out this Field Marshal real quick. These are, in the words of Tim Taylor, it's British. These were a single-cylinder, two-stroke diesel, and the interesting part about it was how they started. Now, you could either start it by, you would actually use, I believe it was actually the steering wheel would come out, and you'd put in there and you could hand start it, but actually to heat the chamber, because it's a diesel, you would take this out, put some paper in there, start that on fire, and that would preheat your combustion chamber, kind of like almost like a pre-injection system. Heat that up so it's ready to go. It's like analog glow plug. We'll call it that. Well, then the other way you can start is you can either hand start it, or you would unscrew this right here, put a 12 gauge blank in there, screw it back in, smoke that with a hammer, and the shot would get the engine turning over and it would run. These things would thump and about shake themselves to pieces, being a single cylinder 2-stroke diesel. Absolutely cool piece to see out here. Of course, we didn't get to see it run, but pretty cool deal. And as you can see, Saturday afternoon, this show starts to slow down a little bit. Got a BFA ribbon. We filmed that yesterday. We got guys loading up, getting ready to call it a year for the show season 2025. But again, thanks for watching. We got to check out the Blacksmith a little bit. Again, one of the little cool things they do at the show. It's not just farm equipment, all sorts of antique style things. And got to check that out. Checked out some field work. Leave a comment. What was your favorite thing? And we will see you guys on the next one. Bye.